Hello and welcome to another episode of Amon Sheeran's Pirate Radio podcast. We have a very special guest today, and that guest is the very handsome Gerard Connelly, training for the. Oh, we'll get into everything, but Gerard, thank you for doing this.
Yeah, dude, I'm happy to be doing this. I've been living in Flagstaff by myself, kind of just sitting in my room, feeling like I need to talk to people more. So I'm happy to be talking.
Are you like your normal caveman self, or do you have any friends out there yet?
I've been meeting people. Yeah, I mean, I got here and I knew zero people. You want to just lower the volume on your phone a little bit?
Yeah, my bad.
No, you're good. But yeah, I got here. I was by myself. I didn't really know anybody, and then I started going to some group runs, and I was able to start meeting people. So yeah, it's been good. I've been meeting more and more people every week, I guess.
Yeah. So how are the legs feeling?
Legs are feeling good. Body's feeling good. I would say at this point, I'm like mostly adjusted to altitude. I mean, I don't think anybody ever truly performs at altitude the way they can at sea level. But yeah, I mean, I had a pretty good long run yesterday, and my easy runs are getting easier. So
That's awesome.
As far as the altitude goes, yeah, it's not too bad.
All right, sick. I'm trying to think if we should jump into the trials and save the training talk.
Yeah, whatever.
All right, cool. So I want your. So Kyle Merber had a tweet. He said that was the last night was the best hour of track in U.S. track and field history. What do you think about that bold statement?
I think it's a very bold statement, but I also think it's a very accurate statement. Just because, yeah, I mean, it was a very well-rounded last hour. It was a very exciting last hour. I mean, we had the world record by Sydney McLaughlin, which was incredible. I was hoping it would happen. I knew that it was possibility. I knew Sydney McLaughlin's been going through some difficulties with training, but I knew it was part of her process. And then she did end up getting the world record, which was I was cheering by myself alone in my apartment. And then the 1500, that was the most exciting last 150 meters of any distance race I've seen in a long, long time. And then Noah Lyles kind of came back, and he won the 200, which I did not expect. I kind of was feeling pretty nervous about his likelihood of making the team. And yeah, he pulled it together at last minute, and luckily he won the race. I mean, not only did he qualify for the Olympics, but he won the meet, which was really cool to see.
Yeah, he's a sick athlete. I really want to. Well, first we'll go with the collegians. Cole Hocker and Noah. Who's the Notre Dame guy?
Yard Nagoose.
Yard Nagoose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Balls out for Nagoose. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, it was nuts kind of hang out.
Yeah. But yeah, collegians, first and third in 1500. My favorite event, in college at least, I would say I was a 1500 meter specialist. So that's why I think it's my favorite event. And just a sick race. I mean, I don't think anyone saw Central getting dethroned by a college kid.
Yeah, I would agree, and I think I would agree that the 1500 the coolest middle ground event for track. I mean, some people say it's the 800 that is the kind of all-encompassing event that brings everybody together. I personally think it's the 1500. You know, it's just from a fan's perspective. From an athlete's perspective, yeah, it definitely takes more of a distance runner to run the 15. But I think for the fans, you really see the most exciting racing in the 1500. Just the amount of tactics that are involved in a 3.5 minute race, and then the type of last 400 meters you see in the 1500 is just incredible. Sometimes, I mean, last night that last 400 was, I was yelling. I mean,
I was standing up in my basement alone at 1 a.m. whenever it was.
Yeah, it was 12:40 a.m. on the East Coast, and yeah, I mean, for whoever stayed up that late, it was definitely worth it, I think.
No, for sure. I mean, it sucks that a lot of people missed it, but you have to put the athletes first. I know you're a big fan of Sidious Mag, and I was listening to Kyle, Merber, and Chris last night, and they were saying um, it was a tough decision to postpone, but you have to uh, put the athletes over the fans, put the athletes
Totally.
priorities over the East Coast fans. So it's a kind of a no-brainer. Uh,
Yeah.
I want to talk since you're what would you say your specialty event is in terms of the
Um,
Olympic distances?
I'm totally buying into the marathon right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always been really good at long runs, and I just officially committed to my first marathon, my marathon debut in November, and I'm buying in. I'm giving it my best shot, and I'm gonna just see what happens if I tell myself I'm a really good marathoner for 5, 6 months, however long I have until the race. And yeah, I don't know. I think I have a pretty good shot of running a good time and maybe placing really well.
One thing I hate about my life is every Sunday afternoon I see your long run and I think about ending it all.
Oh, come on.
They're too fast, man.
that's,
It's just a little too
that's a
fast.
lot of words right there.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
no.
I mean,
Obviously, I'm joking, but it's really impressive, man. Seriously.
yeah. I mean, just to put like my fast long runs into perspective though, and like why I think I'm a good marathoner over any other event is so like this past Sunday, I I was able to join the like Westfly Athletics, those guys. Um, a couple sub 4 milers, and yeah, I mean we were running pretty fast. We were running 6 minute pace, sub 6 pace for a lot of the run.
What was the total distance?
I ended up running 16 miles. I think they did like 10 to 12 maybe.
Really?
But I mean, I ended up having like a much better long run than all those guys. And I'm not even saying that to like boost my confidence or
Just
boost my ego
facts.
or anything, but I'm just point being that, they're milers and I'm a marathoner, I think. So if I'm able to contend with sub 4 milers in a long run and, kind of have a better run than them, then I think that just goes to show. I wish I was a better miler sometimes because the mile is a really cool event, but that's just the way my legs are. It's the way my body works.
Yeah. So I want to take it back to the start a little bit, if you'll indulge me. So Gerard, I know you weren't always the best runner. I saw some pictures of you back in Smithtown at Manhattan College. And what is that? What would you say to that kid right now, being where you are in your running career?
um,
Does that make sense?
so yeah. So what would I say to the high school Gerard? I guess
Yeah.
I would say you're more talented than you think you are. You're more talented than you think you are, and also talent doesn't mean anything. In high school, I was very hung up on the fact that uh, there was a couple kids on my team that were talented, but really they were able to run low mileage and do really well off of that, which I always was kind of envious of and always kind of discouraged by because they would do the 25 miles a week that we would do, and they would run sub 420 the mile, etc. And I just wasn't able to do that with that kind of training, so it would discourage me and make me think that maybe I'm not super talented, maybe running isn't for me long term. But at the end of the day, you kind of just got to find the training that works for you and just work really hard. Sometimes it takes more hard work than you think it takes. I mean, look at Joe Klecker. He is outspoken about being one of the hardest working Americans in U.S. track and field, and I believe it. I mean, he posts all his stuff on Strava. It's not even about how many miles he runs; it's about how he runs those miles and the workouts he does, which are crazy. So sometimes, yeah, I guess that's what I would say to my high school self is don't buy the talent bullshit. You can accomplish great things in the sport if you just try really really hard sometimes.
Absolutely. You're definitely a grinder. And it goes back to, for me, it goes back to a quote. I don't know if you guys did this over at Smithtown, but every year for summer training at Syosset, we'd put a quote on the back of the shirt. And then with 2012, it was hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. What does that quote mean to you?
Totally. I mean, it's super cliche. I've heard that quote a million times, but there's a reason cliches exist, and that's because they're usually pretty accurate. Um, yeah, I mean, I've had quote unquote talented teammates, talented competitors that were better than me at the start of a season, and I was able to work my way past them throughout the season. Or yeah, I don't know. I mean, definitely when you're committed to something and you're working hard, it kind of snowballs into something a lot greater, I think, at the end of the day. And if you're just relying on your talent, then it's not going to really get you too far.
I want to shout out the chat. Steve was in here earlier. Elia,
Who?
Maris kid. I don't know if anyone's still in here, but if you are, say hi. But yeah, you're definitely a grinder. And what do you think out of all the Olympic qualifiers, who's the biggest grinder outside of Joe Klecker?
Um,
Tough one.
yeah, I would probably say Ellie Purrier. That remains as probably my favorite race from the trials. Ellie Purrier taking the 1500 win from the front. And equally, I would probably say Emily Sisson.
I was just going to say the 10K was really impressive.
Both of those races were just, I mean, works of art. They were. It's very rare that you see a race won from the front like that. It's even more rare that you see an Olympic trials race won from the front in those conditions, in such unpredictable fields. You don't know what everybody has. You don't know. I mean, racing has been sparse the past year. So it really takes a lot of guts to commit to a front run like that, and then it takes even more. It takes a lot of fitness to be able to like follow that up. And yeah, I would probably say Ellie Purrier is probably the hardest worker besides Joe Klecker. She's a tank.
Yeah, no, I think Sisson was most impressive for me due to the heat and the length of the race, the 10K. Cliche again, but the spirit of Prefontaine, I think, was pushing her.
Yeah,
Sisson, that is.
I mean, you were talking about the Hayward Magic earlier.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I always heard that term growing up. I didn't really know what it meant. Just like I thought it was just a kind of like a silly motto that they had for the stadium, but I think that at this point, so many great performances have happened at that meet or at that stadium. The fans are so educated that the community, you're warming up outside the stadium. You probably see so many people who just know what's going on. And you just.
I'm back.
You just. Okay.
I'm back.
Yeah,
I'm back.
just being.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. Being in Eugene just really probably boost your morale about the sport of running, and then and then you get into that stadium, you race, and you know that every single person in that stadium knows what's going on. You just it's a collective energy. It's a lot of people that are really, really invested in the sport of track and field, and in one of the most beautiful stadiums in the world. So Hayward Magic is probably just based on the fact that you're feeding off of everything in Eugene, Oregon, and when you have that much behind you, anything can happen.
Shout out to my high school buddy Sean Ahern in the chat. Say hi, Sean. But
Hey,
I think the duo that stole the weekend was the Bowerman boys, Fisher and Kincaid. They decided they're going to double in Tokyo, which sucks for everyone in fourth, but really impressive.
They made that official decision?
I believe so, cited by Sidious Mag. So it's
okay.
Yeah, so just talk about those two races and your guy who's doubled in like conference meets, and talk about hi Sean, and just talk about that their impressive performances.
Yeah, I mean, to double in the 5K 10K is I mean, I've done it before. I'm nowhere near what those athletes are, but you really not only do you need to like be insanely fit, and you need to be just ready to take on that amount of like you need to train for months and months to build the endurance for those three races, 1 10K and 2 5Ks, semi and final.
Mm-hmm.
Not only do you need the endurance, but you also need it's like a fine-tuned ability, like it's a fine-tuned fitness, because not only do you need to have the endurance, but you also need to be able to bounce back and yeah, I mean, you need to like have your so like right now, the way I'm trained right now is I'm overworked a little bit. I'm at the point where I know that if like my workout on Wednesday is probably, I'll get through it, I'll do great, but I know that like after that I'm like kind of accumulating a lot of fatigue. So like Thursday will probably be tough, Friday will probably be tough, and it's hard to like be like in a fitness where you can rebound from like be fit enough for an effort and then rebound from it really quickly. I don't know if that really makes sense, but
It does to me, but for the uninformed, and obviously recovery is really important, but I wanted to ask what is the purpose of doing that? And you didn't say overtraining, but slightly overtraining. What is the purpose of doing that for your, go ahead.
Yeah. And do you want to just move like the phone away from the mic just because I can hear myself like pretty clearly?
Yeah, I don't know how to do this.
Sorry, it's okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
But yeah, the purpose of overtraining a little bit and just like gaining, like accumulating a certain amount of fatigue in your legs and your body is to just adapt to it. I mean, I'm building my mileage right now. I don't have any important races anytime soon. So my main goal is to do like long runs, like, you know, every day, try to get in a good amount of mileage, do hard workouts that really test my aerobic system, test my, you know, muscle tension and you know, try to get some good speed work in, and then just go to sleep and recover as best as possible from that work. And then you know, over time, you know, I won't be able to recover perfectly like the next day, but you know, maybe in 3, 4, 5 weeks, I'll be able to, if I keep on doing that, I'll be able to recover really, really quickly. And then once I'm able to get that recovery time down and I'm able to recover a lot quicker, then eventually I'll be able to run, you know, 90 miles a week and do some big workouts that are able to build my fitness to the point where I can run a full marathon. Because right now I can't, you know, it doesn't matter what any of my workouts say, I can't do that. So
Why do you
got to build those. What?
Why do you say you can't run a full right now? You can't race a full? Is that what you mean? Like you're not ready?
I can't race a full. Yeah, I can't run a full marathon at my goal pace yet.
Okay, what is
I
that?
could probably complete a marathon.
Right. What is
my goal pace? I'm not too sure yet. I mean, at some point in my life, I would love for it to be 5:17 pace, which is fast enough to get you under the Olympic trials qualifying standard. I don't know if that'll happen this fall. If I had to guess, I would say a good goal of mine for this fall would be to run under 2:25.
Just like 5:30-ish?
Yeah, I think it's like 5:23, 24, 25. I'm pretty sure like 2:20 marathon is like 5:20 pace. It's like right about there.
I want to get more into you touched on it. I got to bring it up. You just said that you talked about the standard. So does that mean you have Olympic aspirations?
You see, it's like, it's funny.
It's a tough one, you know, but.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, so my coach, Brendan Martin, he is 31 years old and he is still crushing mileage and setting PRs and still has big goals. And as far as I'm concerned, I feel like as a 23-year-old, I feel like I've kind of had like a pretty underwhelming career for how much like training I've done and how much like successful training I've put together. So, I mean, I would have to give you an answer after my first marathon, but I mean, I think anything's possible. I think it's, I mean, look at Noah Droddy. Noah Droddy went from being a 14:45K guy, which, you know, don't get me wrong, 14:40 is a great time. I've never run 14:40, not yet anyway. But he was just like a D3, you know, I don't even think he was an All-American. He moved to Boulder, Colorado, kind of just farted around for a little bit. And then he just decided, you know what, like, I was pretty good at running at one point. I'm going to give it my best shot. And yeah, Noah is a beast. And yeah, and then a few years later, he runs a 2:09 marathon, which is just like mind boggling that you could improve so much. I mean, it just goes to show that if you find the right training and you string together a lot of really consistent years, anything's possible. So I like to look at my training and my mindset towards like my running career with a little bit of that, just because, you know, anything is possible. And I do think if you're gonna do it, you might as well commit to like a pretty you know pretty positive mindset that has big goals. Because if you're not gonna try them, then why even do it in the first place?
Yeah, for sure. Noah's a great Twitter follow. I find him really entertaining. I'm sure you follow him as well.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So Brendan Martin's obviously a beast. So I'm sure you had a lot of choices. How did you end up deciding on him as your coach?
I mean, we're just really good friends. I've known Brendan for like 8, 9 years now. We've known each other. We grew up like around the block from each other. I didn't really know him until after high school and everything, but or after like his high school, and I was still in high school. But yeah, we're both Smithtown alumni. We both have known each other for so long. So yeah, and then when it came down to me not having a coach after college, I knew he was a coach, and yeah, I always asked him for advice. I kind of like bug him a lot, honestly. I have like so many questions to ask him all the time, and he's really patient with me and really happy to give advice and offer his knowledge. So yeah, it made sense. I figured we'll work together and see how far we can go with just taking my running a little more seriously.
You ever train with him?
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, our schedules don't totally align. We don't always live in like the same area. I'm usually in Long Island, and he's in New York City. But yeah, whenever we can. And I actually am moving to New York City in August after I leave Flagstaff. I'm going to Manhattan, and I'm living there.
Breaking news.
Yeah, breaking news. Yeah, I'm really excited actually.
You living alone? What's the story?
No, I got two roommates. My one best friend, Michael Leary.
I was talking about him. Sorry to cut you off. I was talking about him with Billy Ulrich.
Oh yeah, Billy Ulrich is awesome.
I just had him
you
on.
had him on recently, right?
What?
You had him on, right?
Yeah, that was my last one.
Cool. Yeah, Billy's really cool, and I know they were like rivals in high school.
Yes, St. Anne's, Chaminade.
Yeah, Mike always tells me, he's like, every time I do something, like from Mike's perspective, he says every time I do something, like run fast time or something, he'll always one up. Like a couple days later, he'll run a second faster than me, or he'll outkick me in the last 50 meters. It's Billy always seems to have the upper hand, apparently. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like they've had a good rivalry for a really long time.
Yeah, no, those Catholic school blood lines run deep. Do you have an arch nemesis in post college or at any time in your career?
I wish I could say I had more rivals. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't either.
I mean, I guess that's the thing. I graduated college and they're like, it was COVID, so
right.
Didn't really have too many chances to form any rivalries. I guess during college, I always had a rivalry with anybody from Geneseo. Running at Brockport, we were always trying to win the SUNYAC championship. So, for like 2 years, I was one of the best distance runners at Brockport, and we had a couple other good distance runners, but Geneseo had like way more than us. So, if anybody was going to make a stir within the SUNYAC conference against Geneseo, it was going to be us at Brockport. And yeah, I just like, if it was like me alone in a race and I remember, so we'll do a little story time. The 5K at conferences.
SUNYACs. Before you go into your story,
Sure.
I don't know if you knew this. I'm a SUNYAC dropout.
Are you? Oh yeah, you were supposed to go to Cortland, right?
I did go to Cortland.
Okay, yeah.
I gotta tell the story. I haven't told it on the podcast. It's brutal,
yeah, go ahead.
But I just gotta go quick. So I was 6'3" at that age. All respect to those with eating disorders. I did not have an eating disorder, but I was very skinny. I was 150 pounds at 6'3", which was like the thinnest I've ever been. I had a great cross season. I came in injured. I broke my ankle in the steeple, and I came in. All right. Story time for me, and then the year started. So my freshman year of high school, I fell in the steeple. That was on Ridiculousness. So it was a bad fall.
The show Ridiculousness?
Yes.
Oh my God, you're famous.
Okay, so fast forward 3 years. My coach is like, Syos is like a powerhouse.
and
Yeah.
we would won counties. Like, we hadn't lost counties in like 10 seasons, including cross country, winter, spring. So it's like my senior year spring. It's going to be my last race. I was on the 4x8, but in winter, but I wasn't going to be on the 4. I was going to be an alternate for states in the spring. So it was like, Amon, listen, I know you fell. I know you're on ridiculousness, but we need you in the steeple. We're going to put you in fresh. Everyone's doubling back for the 2 mile. You're going to run the steeple at counties, Westbury High School. Like, this is your chance. You have a good chance to win. And I did. I was in the race. I was hurdling all the barriers, solid over the water barriers, and the last lap comes, and I fell back. But in Nassau, I'm sure it's the same in Suffolk. It's 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 1. So 1 through 6 score.
Yeah, that's the usual. Yep.
Yeah. So 1 through 6 score. So I end up in 6th at the last water barrier. 5th is far away, and 7th is far behind. So I just have to finish. I got a bad last barrier, and if this is the left side of the barrier, my left ankle, like, I don't know. I sprained my left ankle badly on the last water barrier, and I was like,
oh my God, again.
So what do you think I did?
Did you finish? I hope you finished.
Finished that goddamn race and scored a point, and we won counties.
Good.
That was my last high school race. Okay, so all that to say, I go into Cortland injured. There's like a time trial, 4 miles in 24 minutes. I got recruited. I recruited myself, blah, 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 blah. I didn't have to run the time trial. So I had a great cross season. I was 8th on the team, or 9th on the team, and they went to nationals. I didn't get to go. 8 guys go. Whatever. Great. So I ran at Brockport at Suniacs. It started snowing a mile in, and I ran 28:38. So it was a solid race.
Yeah.
Respectable. I didn't break that until, my best season at Adelphi. So I never ran sub 28. But anyway, great cross season. Winter comes. How many times did you run over a winter break? Like every day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did not run. I might have run once for 6 weeks. I was in a really bad funk. I was like, my roommate was a bad fit, whatever. And I didn't run once. So then there's a meet at Ithaca. Like, my coach, Steve Patrick, whatever.
The bomber invite.
Yeah, the bomber invite.
Yep.
So I was gonna slated to run the 3K. He sees I'm in bad shape. He's like, I'm gonna put you in the 800. I get out there. Guess what I ran?
No, I don't even know. Did you break 210?
No, 217. And
oh wow.
I ran 201 open and 158 in a relay like the year before. So obviously, and then I got an email that night. I'm cut. I just had a really just a rough spring semester, and yeah, that's about it. But
and then send it down to Adelphi and redeem yourself, right?
Send it down to
or
Nassau.
You went to Nassau and then Adelphi.
Took a year off, and then I had wanted to join the team, but there was like, oh, we're not gonna have a team, not enough people, yada yada yada. The next year comes, there's a new coach, James Herbert. Good guy, he's an official. I have another story for another day with him, but I joined the team. I ended up making nationals for JUCO. I ran. So my arch rival is. He ran for Suffolk. Ilya.
Oh, Ilya Wilson.
Ilya Wilson. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we went back and forth.
Marius is in this. Marius knows Ilya.
Okay. Shout out to Marius and the Brockport boys. Go Eagles. So Ilya Wilson, yeah, we went back and forth every time. And he beat me, I beat him, whatever. So nationals, worst race of my life. I kicked with 450 to go, and just downhill from there. But yeah, that's about it. So
cool.
Yeah.
Where the level?
For backstory. So Cortland was D3, and then Nassau is JUCO, junior college, and then after that I went to Adelphi. Mikey P.
But, yeah, Adelphi was D2.
Is that where you were asking, Colin? But yeah, Gerard, you can go ahead with your story.
Yeah, I mean, my story was just about like rivalry. Just one race at Suniacs. It was the 5K, and yeah, I just wanted to win so bad. I mean, I knew I had a decent shot, but like in reality, I knew it was going to be really, really tough. So I hung on to the leader. He was Matt Sayer from Geneseo, who he just went to nationals, and he got third at nationals, NCAA nationals for D3, and he ran 14:15. So he improved a lot since then. But back then, yeah, he was leading the race at SUNYX, and I was just hanging on to him for dear life for 24 laps, and I was dying. I like never really pushed myself that hard in the race before, and it wasn't even that fast. Just something about the day, I just really had to try really hard to stay on him, and yeah, I ended up fourth, top three get medals, and so I was kicking, and on the last turn on the rail, I tripped on the rail, and yeah, I didn't fall all the way down, but yeah, I got passed by two people right in the last turn, and got fourth, whatever. But long story short was, I mean, most people are like have some sort of a rivalry with Geneseo in the SUNYAC conference because they always win.
Did. More so with Ithaca, but I don't know why I said
Yeah.
we. I have no affiliation to Cortland whatsoever.
Yeah, Cortland. I mean, you were there. You know what Geneseo is all about, and they're really good. So everybody kind of wants to see them lose at some point. You know, I have a lot of respect for them, but at some point, everybody wants to see them lose just because they win so much. And yeah, my coach came over to me after the race, and he's like, "You want to know how ballsy of a race you ran?" He said the Oneonta coach, who had an athlete in that race, was cheering for you to win. I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. So yeah, I was getting other coaches from other teams cheering for me because they thought I was going to win with like 2 laps to go, but just didn't quite have enough.
Is that your best college race, would you say?
I mean, it was one of the most exciting races,
Yeah.
I think. I mean, I one of the races I really put myself on the line and got the fans involved pretty heavily. That was probably the most exciting, I think.
All right, so I'm going to talk about my most exciting race. You had transferred at this point, but we'll start from the time of that school when I got to Adelphi. What was your first impression of me? I was out of shape, but what was your first impression of Amon walking on?
When you joined the team at Adelphi?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really know much about you. I mean, I knew you came from Cortland, and I knew Cortland was a really good school. So I was like, oh, maybe he'll be pretty good.
How did you really know that?
Yeah, Katie told me.
Oh, really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No. But yeah, but didn't you like Sean has told me like, oh man, you were really I didn't really run that summer. I met Philly at the running school, and he gave me Katie's number. I was recruited a little bit when I was at Nassau. But I was like, so she saw me run at an ESU meet, and I ran like 4:18 in the 15, and I was like, oh, that's not fast enough to run for Adelphi. They got Dylan Pickhart, they got Gerard, Connelly, they got all these guys that I thought were so fast, but I was running like more than fast enough to in the 15 to be on the team at that time. So I discouraged myself. I didn't talk to Katie all summer, and luckily I ran into Philly.
Can't let yourself down, dude. Always give your best shot.
Yeah. So I'm glad, obviously, I joined the team.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah. So I was out of shape coming in, and then I grinded. I earned my jersey. I didn't run for cross the first season, but I earned my jersey in the winter, and I ran 4:58 at SoCon, but in the same season, at any tens, I was in the mile. Somehow I qualified, and I was like, all right, I was very locked in. Obviously, I wasn't going to score. I was in the slow heat, but I put myself out there. I gave it my all, and I ran 4:38 on a flat track. And it was really important to me because I didn't know what the team thought of me. I was like, is this kid a joker? Is he serious? Is he not? And I proved
that for the mile or 15?
Mile.
Okay.
Indoor.
Yeah.
Indoor. Yeah. So I was like,
I think I remember that meet.
Yeah, I remember you. I really wanted to. One of the captains were Jose Velasquez and Anthony Cosilla. Shout out to Cosilla, he just got married. But I digress. Yeah. He was like he was a good captain. He like wasn't gonna give out compliments if he like didn't mean it. And he's a great athlete in his own right. But on the bus coming back, like Cosilla and I were never best friends, and that's fine. But he's a good guy. Like we're friendly, whatever. But he was like, hey, he tapped me on the back. I was sitting down. He was like, hey, great mile. And that's all he said. And I was just like, man, I kind of earned my spot here. So that's my story.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that a good quote to follow it up with, is the quote. I remember Katie, my freshman year, something she put in like a training packet or something that really always stuck with me is I think it was something like you're not defined by your past or something like
Right.
you're not like, you know, if you were good in high school, great. Like that really doesn't mean anything in college. Like you have to like prove yourself again. And if you weren't good in high school, then great. Like doesn't mean anything. You can earn you can earn your respect in a whole new way. You know, new training. You know, you can rewrite clean slate. So I always think that no matter where you are in your life or training or whatever it is in your life, you know, don't think back to what you were the past couple months, or if you want to do something, just look forward, don't look back. And that I learned that one from Katie. Shout out to Katie. I don't know if she's ever gonna watch this, but
She's on the
that's
podcast,
something that something that she said that always stuck with me.
Yeah, shout out to Katie. They had a great season. She was coach of the year for the NE10. So
that was big. I was really happy to see that.
Yeah, that was awesome. The Marsh twins. I want to give a shout out to two of my former teammates at Adelphi, Kelly Smith and Cecilia Winthrop. I guess I would compare them to me in that they weren't in the best of shape. They were solid college athletes, but you know, I would have never predicted that Cecilia would come in second in the 15 and Kelly would come in fifth in the 15 and any 10s. So I just want to give a huge shout out to them. Another couple of grinders. And I want to have them both on the podcast because they're two athletes like us that weren't defined by their past and put their nose to the grindstone and gave it their best shot. And
and I think that women's team at Adelphi really started buying in. I think they really just kind of had a really good. They have a lot of athletes, a lot of really talented athletes. But what's even more important to that is they took those talented athletes and they kind of put their minds together and started working really hard as a group, which is hard to accomplish. It's hard to coordinate from a captain's perspective and from a coach's perspective. But this year, I think that's where they. The women's team, I mean, men and women at Adelphi are both great, but the women, you know, they did really, really amazing at any 10s. And I think it just comes down to the fact that, they put their minds together. They just trusted the process and they, I mean, there's always talk about training this, training that. Like it really isn't at the end of the day, it's not really about the training. It's just about buying in and just having a good attitude and just like believing in yourself and your teammates. That's really what's most important at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Shout out to Gina, who just joined. Anyway, so when is the Philly Marathon?
November 19th.
All right.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
I'm excited. I want to bring this back to the trials a little bit, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think there's still just so many things to talk about.
Oh, for sure.
So before this, I was actually listening to the interview with Matt Centrowitz, and if you get a chance, go listen to the full interview, like the post, like immediately post race, where they have like the red background, that thing. It's like a 60-minute interview, and I think Centro is such a cool athlete because he's just so like transparent. He's not afraid to say what's on his mind. He's not afraid to, just if he feels a certain way about something, he's not afraid to say it. And he really gets like that in that interview, and not in like in a way where he's like cursing people out or just
honest,
being like aggressive, but he's just really himself. And it's really cool to see that. And I think Centro is somebody who has really matured over the years, and he's become somebody that American distance runners can look up to, younger runners can look up to, and just from a competition standpoint, they can look up to him. From a training standpoint, they can look up to him, and just as a personality, he's a competitor, and he really, really puts it on the line every time he races. And I think that's something to be admired and to be replicated because I don't know. There's two ways to look at running. There's times, and then there's races.
Races. You need to be a racer to make the Olympic team.
It's awesome to run fast times. It's Johnny Gregorek. He's a 3:49 miler, which is amazing. But at the end of the day, who are we talking about more right now? We're talking about Centrowitz because Centrowitz is a really good racer. We're talking about Cole Hocker because he's a really good racer, and it takes a lot of confidence, takes a lot of knowledge, and a lot of really good strategy to race really well.
Yeah, I think Centrowitz, and I'm sure he gets this from his father, Matt Senior, is the best tactician our sport has ever seen in terms of how he prepares, and that's why he's an Olympic champion. I still can't believe Hawker outkicked him. It was amazing.
Yeah. That was nuts.
Yeah, no, I'm sick, absolutely sick.
And like his positioning too, like I think tactically speaking, Central had a much better race. I mean, it's clear as day. Central was in a really good spot. You know, he was leading at some points, which is some people don't think that's the best thing to do, but he was out of trouble. He was out on his own in the clear at the front of the pack and was just kind of controlling the race from the front. Meanwhile, Cole Hocker was boxed in so bad. I've never seen anybody boxed in
other than
so
Craig.
bad. And what's that?
Well, the only one who was worse than him was Craig. I mean, his positioning, I have to say, was awful. And he knows better than that. He's a great athlete. He's my favorite guy to watch. But there's no excuse for that, honestly. At that level.
And it's really tough to get the tactics down, but and sometimes you find yourself in the sticky situations. But the fact that Cole Hocker was trying to get out of that box for like 2.5 laps, and then all of a sudden at the last second he just squeezes by everybody and explodes to win. That was just so cool.
Yeah, that was the coolest race I've seen in years. I think we talked definitely about the trials. I want to get into some random stuff with you. I know you're a stand-up comedy fan, and I've done open mics. I don't know. Did you know that I did open mics back in the day?
I may have remembered. We may have talked about that.
So I used to drive myself into the city and go to
oh wow,
stand-up New York or the Stand.
Yeah,
the Stand, and I was terrible. But you know what?
It's fun.
It's fun. Yeah. Where are you at with your stand-up comedy career?
I wouldn't say it's much of a career anymore.
No,
I had that one summer where I had the idea that I wanted to put on like a show, I wanted to do I wanted to be a headliner of like a comedy show, and for the whole summer I was going to like open mic nights and like practicing and coming up with jokes, and I ended up putting together like a whole 35-minute segment that I hosted the Honesty Show. Well, I didn't host. I produced the Honesty Show. That's what it was called. And there was like a host, like somebody who like called everybody up on stage. He was funny. And then we had Matt Wood, and then Devin Giannini were before me, and then I was the headliner. And I did 35 minutes and told some funny stories about my whole life. That was in.
It was the summer I joined the team.
Yeah, I think that was 2017.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember.
Yeah, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah. I remember it just like it felt really good to be on stage and just kind of go on. And I don't know. I like talking. I feel like I'm a confident speaker, so it's fun.
Yeah. So I remember I had met Kyle Merber the week before at the running school, and I also met Colby, and they were cool guys. They spoke to a lot of people, and they had a nice short conversation with them. But the week after, Kyle Merber came to speak to us before the Hoka Ononi Long Island Mile, and I remember Gerard walks up to him and he's like, "Do you know any runners who are stand-ups?" And Kyle Merber was like, "Daniel Wynn, I guess."
Yeah.
You remember that?
I do remember that. Yeah, I remember like I don't know. That's one of those moments I actually think back to, and I'm like a little embarrassed about that because I was like super awkward about it, and I was like, like I think you're so funny. I want to be like you, but like in more of like a comedian sense. And I'm like, I don't know, whatever I said, I was just like, I don't think it was insulting, but I was just like,
just awkward.
Looking back on it, I was like, I was such like a geeky little kid. I mean, I wasn't a kid, but I think I was a little starstruck in that moment too.
Yeah, no, he is Long Island running for people our age, I think. And he's doing a great job. I really love the Citius Mag with him and Chris. I hope they do those more consistently and not just for the Olympics. But he has a newsletter. I don't know do you know what it's called?
Oh yeah, The Lap Count.
The Lap Count. Yeah, I got to get into
that. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
Do you read it?
I don't. I just see it.
Yeah, definitely subscribe to it. It's like, I mean, it takes less than 10 minutes to read, and it's every
It's
week.
daily?
And yeah, it kind of just gives like a good recap of random things that happen throughout the week in track and field.
Word. Sorry, I got distracted, but I'm gonna give you a random question. I need a yes or no answer.
Okay, I'm scared.
Do you believe in aliens?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay. I do too.
Is there a follow-up question?
No, that's all I had.
Oh, that's it.
No, that's it.
Yeah. I mean, if there, I think it'd be really ignorant to say that there's definitely not aliens.
I think it'd be naive to think we're the only ones that exist. Do you think there's aliens that walk amongst us in disguise?
Yeah, I don't know. You always see those like on like Ukraine news channel. You see like, oh, we just saw some UFOs the other day. Like, whoa, hold on, take a few steps back. Like,
Wait, yeah. Did you see the report that was like Navy or an Air Force pilot was like, yeah, we see a UFO every single day.
Yeah,
And it was like the Air Force.
they just like declassified something recently that was like, yeah, like we saw UFOs like a couple years ago, and like they were definitely UFOs, and we don't know what the hell, like where it came from. Apparently, they came from the ocean or something.
Yeah, no, it's wild. Everyone in the chat, if there's anyone still listening, give a thumbs up or a yes or no if you believe in aliens. And Gerard, man.
I follow like a lot of like weird like
Conspiracies,
like war soldier like just like kind of conspiracy Instagram accounts that I mean they're a little ridiculous sometimes, but other times they kind of keep you informed in a way that the news doesn't. Which I mean, sometimes it's not so reliable, but at the same time, like I think I got most of my news from like the Palestinian conflict that just recently happened. I think I got most of that from like some of these Instagram accounts that are mostly focused on like darker things that the news doesn't usually focus on.
We got one yes so far. One yes for aliens.
Yeah, thank you GSP AMP.
Gina Spamp, shout out to her. She's my girlfriend's best friend. But anyway, yeah. Thank you for doing this. I want to talk about Runner Shuffle then, where you're at with that.
Yeah, so I mean, I just February was my last episode of the Runner Shuffle podcast. It was just winter time. I was really bored, and also kind of just like seasonal depression. And it was something I started up, and I have a tendency to like, I'll pick up something new, I'll give it my 1000% effort, and then like I realize it's like too much effort for me to keep up with like my normal life responsibilities. And then I kind of like give up on it a little bit, but I don't know. I think Runner Shuffled has some potential, so I should probably try to keep up on it at some point. I mean, I'm in freaking Flagstaff, Arizona right now, and I haven't posted anything about it yet.
Yeah, is my audio still good?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, so I was playing basketball with Sean today, and he was like, his Instagram was so great. Like, I don't know why he stopped. So even if you just do the Instagram, it's
Yeah, I know that. I think that's what like I just put too much pressure on myself sometimes, and I have to make it perfect. But you know what? Like it doesn't have to be perfect. It just it's something for fun, and if people follow it, then great.
Yeah, as someone who's been doing this for 3 years, I would err on the side of just put it out. Like don't overthink it. Even if you think it sucks, someone will enjoy it. That's what I kind of learned.
Cool. And that kind of my quote that I always stick with when it comes to that like mindset is if you throw shit at a wall enough, like if you throw shit at the wall enough times, eventually something will stick. So
I like pasta better in that analogy, but it's fine.
Oh, is that I would say shit.
Yeah. But yeah, man, thank you for doing this. Is there any burning questions you have for me?
I don't know. What we got to do this again. I guess that's my main question. When's your next race, man? You said you're training. What's the main training goal?
No set schedule. Mike Petrina is my coach over at SRC. Shout out to Mike.
Hell yeah.
Shout out to my coworker and your friend Kim Larson.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I just want to. Right now, I think I can run 4 miles straight at 9-minute pace. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, hey, I mean it's a start, dude. It's a start, and that's the thing with like where you're at is you have to like can't even focus on like a race. So you just gotta
have fun
focus
with
on
it.
like,
Just get out there
like,
as much as you can.
you know, maybe hopefully by August you're doing it every day and enjoying the process. That's
Just gotta trust the process and enjoy it. Shout out to Mike. Can't wait to like officially join SRC. It's a great program. Shout out to them. Obviously, do you want to speak a little bit about SRC and how they helped you in your training?
Yeah. I mean, like, there's not too many people listening to this, but like, I don't know. I at some point, I'm definitely going to be like, I want to make like an Instagram post to just like thank them for all they've not like, you know, they've done a lot for me over the years, but like more so they've just like taught me a lot over the years. You know, I have been working there since 11th grade, and yeah, I kind of realized like, you know, 11th grade's the time when you gotta like decide where you're going to college and what you want to do in college. And at that time, I was like, you know what, like, you know, I'm at this running store and it's pretty cool. There's, you know, there's opportunities for careers in the sports world, and that was when I decided to go into sport management, and always had a job there, always stayed connected with everybody, and just really enjoyed the atmosphere that SRC provided, where I was able to go to work, meet really cool runners, meet coaches, meet people who love the sport, and you know, make a career out of it in some way or another. So I guess you know, not to get too sappy here, but yeah, I mean, I know at some point I'm going to be making like an Instagram post, just kind of laying that out, because I like technically not like working there anymore. You know, I'm moving to Manhattan after this, and I'm going to be you know, doing something else, but they kind of raised me, so to speak. They birthed my love for running greater than what it was before I started working for them.
Yeah. So you went in there as a kid who wasn't sure where he wanted to go in life, and you walked out you know, a marathoner.
Yeah, I walked out a marathoner who's confident enough to drive across the country and train in, you know, Flagstaff, Arizona for the summer, and know how to go about that.
Yeah.
And
the
list goes on.
Yeah, the list goes on. Yeah, I have a couple more questions if you're still got some juice.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So what was like the nail in the coffin that made you turn the ignition on and say, I'm going to freaking Arizona, I'm going to do this thing?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm sure you remember when I was so like I've always wanted to train at altitude. And that was like, you know, so for those listening, I went to Adelphi originally, and then I transferred out. My last season at Adelphi was cross country 2017. I actually, before that season started, I'm like, okay, I'm transferring. During the season, I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to stay. Like, I really like this team. I really like these guys. And I kind of like led the charge towards like planning a altitude training trip for the next summer. And then it just kind of turned out that the school was a little too expensive for me. The school was really what I wasn't looking for anymore. So still ended up deciding to transfer, and obviously the altitude training trip kind of fell through. But long story short.
Hold that thought. The seed you planted has grown to birth. You're in the D's, so you know Joe and Tom and Matt and some of the guys are going to, I don't know where they're going, but they're altitude training. So I think that's a huge.
Right
now? This summer.
When are they going? That's awesome.
I don't know. You didn't know that?
No, I
they posted about it today in the D's. They're going to altitude. I know it's Joe DeStefano, Tom Roulette, and Matt Gemma, and then I'm sure some other guys are going. So I think
it's something that's, you know, if you have like, so that's the thing. Like, I've always wanted to do it. It's always been on my bucket list. I've always wanted to do something like this. And then this summer it kind of turned out that I had enough money saved up. I did a lot of work throughout COVID and everything, and kind of just came up with a plan. Like, you know what? Like, I've always wanted to drive across the country. Always wanted to train at altitude. Like, screw it. Like, let's find an apartment that I could sublease, and let's commit to this marathon training thing and just do it. You know, even like, that's the thing. Like, I wanted to make sure this decision was like gonna happen even without a race. Like, I wanted to just come here no matter what. You know, this scenery is beautiful. Like, you know, right near the Grand Canyon. This is a place unlike any other, and it's something that, even if I wasn't training, even if I wasn't doing anything in the fall, I would still be here, and I would still be enjoying it the same way. So it just, it turns out that I am training really well, and that's really cool. But at the same time, I'm just happy to be here regardless.
So I wouldn't be off base if I called you like crazy about your a crazy person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
sure. Yeah. I mean,
what possessed you to drive and not fly?
Well, I wanted to have my car. I didn't want to rent a car for 2 months. My mom didn't want me to drive, but I was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to be very, very broke if I have to rent a car for 2 months.
Yeah. And talk about the road trip and the scenery. You were a solo gangster going from New York to Arizona, just flying solo. Like, talk about America and the heartland and the scenery and the sights on the trip.
Yeah. And the trip was honestly like, I took 7 days, didn't really like rush or anything. I took my sweet time. And yeah, it was amazing. I mean, like I said, as much as I've always wanted to train altitude, I've also always wanted to drive cross country. And I spent my first night in Ohio, pretty standard. I mean, drove through Pennsylvania, nothing really to report there. Stopped at Penn State, which was pretty cool. Ohio, next morning, I went to the Cuyahoga National Park, did a run there, which is really cool. Unexpected that I didn't know Ohio had a national park. And then from there, I drove to St. Louis, which was that was a pretty rough day because my car actually broke down that day. I had to spend 2 hours in the parking lot of Advanced Auto Parts fixing my car in the rain too. It was freaking raining. I was so miserable, and I was like, "Stay calm. You got this. Stay calm. Like, we have a lot of driving to do. Just figure this out." So yeah, that was tough. And then got to St. Louis. So yeah, Ohio to Indiana to Illinois. Lots of farms out there. Lots of. We got 2 minutes remaining. It says on this Instagram Live.
All right. If it ends, we can stay on Zoom if that's cool, and we'll wrap up.
Yeah, sure. I'll wrap up my story real quick.
Yeah.
Kansas was beautiful. I think Kansas was a lot more beautiful than I expected. Very wide open, beautiful skies. The town I stayed in was really, really cute, really sweet, nice people. Stayed in Boulder, Colorado for 2 nights at my friend's house, and then drove down to Albuquerque. Albuquerque's super weird. Wouldn't really recommend it as like a travel destination. Honestly.
That's where they were
Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
And then Flagstaff.
Flagstaff, baby. Yeah, that's sick. Everyone who stayed in the chat, congratulate yourselves and say something in the chat before we end, I guess.
Yeah, appreciate anybody who tuned in at any point during this.
Yeah, in terms of
hopefully more people watch this after the fact. I'll post this, I guess, and see if anybody wants to watch and listen. Just in normal time. Yeah,
I think we'll get like a solid. It's one of my longer ones, but I'm sure we get cut off. But the last one did pretty well on YouTube, so I think that's where it'll live on my feed, and
cool.
I'm excited about it. But we can. Is it going to cut us off any second?
We have 25 seconds left.
25 seconds left?
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you guys
for listening. That.
Yeah, and you can end, then we'll wrap up on Zoom if that's cool.
Cool. All right, Instagram Live people, thank you for tuning in. If you want to watch like the last couple, 2-3 minutes on Eamon's podcast, you know where to go. All right, peace out. All right, I guess share to IGTV.
Dude, that was great.
Yeah, totally.
All right.
I can hear you.
All right, man. What else did I want to? That was awesome. That's one of my longer ones. I think we crushed it. But yeah, man. Just good luck with everything. Who are your training partners?
I mean, I'm like still pretty solo for the most part. I've been making friends. So Flagstaff has every Thursday at a bagel place. There's a group run that meets every Thursday. Bagel run, they call it, which I've been meeting people through that, and then Sundays I've been trying to just meet up with people for long runs. Other than that, I mean, I ran with people today actually, which is first time running with people on a Monday. But like my workouts, I like to keep those solo. I don't really have anybody matching up schedules with that. I usually like to work out solo, honestly. Makes it a little tougher. Yeah, it's hard to work. I mean, I don't like it because it's easy. I like it because it's like, you know,
It'll help. Yeah.
Yeah, it really does help with like racing, and I'm pretty good at it at this point. Like the start of COVID, I was pretty bad at working out solo, but I've definitely built a resilience to the solo grind. So I appreciate it at this point. But yeah, I don't know, making more friends as I go.
Yeah, hell yeah! I can't wait to visit you in Manhattan, man. We'll go out.
Yeah, I can't wait, dude.
Yeah, no, that's sick. That's sick. I'm glad you have some roommates. You're not shouldering that burden of rent on your own, obviously.
Yeah, no, definitely not. That would not be happening by myself.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, man. I'll do an outro. I'll do an intro. I don't want to get too ambitious, but thank you so much, and I'm excited for Runner Shuffle. Then I'm excited to have you back on when you crush the Philly Marathon.
Cool. Yeah, and I think we are due for some. I think there's more things to talk about from the trials, so maybe you can come onto my podcast and we can talk about that on mine.
You know, I'm pretty busy. No, I'm just kidding. I love to. Thank you, Gerard, and thanks everyone for listening.